Yo, what's up? It's the Heavyist podcast, weekly worship at the altar of radness. We've got a fun episode. This week we are going to be chatting about six fantastic new releases that have been just absolutely mulching our brains. It's been a cracking start to the year, and these releases are super sick. So yeah, covering a nice little range of death metal, genty business, hard as hell mosh stuff. It's all here. So yeah,
you've done well to cut
I'm
it down
stoked.
to 6 because you just kept sending me more and more albums all week.
There's so many good things.
Have you heard this? Like, we really had to work to cut it down to 6. Otherwise, this episode would be 3 hours long.
yeah. The Heavyist are eating well, mate. 2025 has been absolutely fantastic, mate. What's going on with your existence, Gary? Any updates?
I had the cheesiest cheesy pasta bake you've ever seen in your life, did I?
Whoa, incredibly cheesy.
It was so
How many
cheesy,
types
dude.
of cheese?
Just 2, but approximately 750 grams of cheese.
That's too much cheese.
That's too much. It was a combination of mozzarella and cheddar. It was something else, mate. It was so good. It was so
fantastic, mate. Get on MasterChef. Get right on it.
I don't think it'll let you use jars of Home Pride sauce on MasterChef.
No, you just go in. You do what you want. You take what you want. You go in there and you go.
Just hope no one's watching when I had the jar of Home Pride.
Yeah, you go on there. You look John Turreau dead in the eyes and say, "There's 750 grams of cheese in here, mate. Now do your worst."
And here's the secret ingredient: a jar of sauce. And just do this.
That's it, mate. That's it.
How you doing, brother? You good? What are you drinking
I'm
yourself
incredibly
there?
well.
You got a bit of
I'm on the green tea, Gary, because
Oh, mate.
That's what fathers drink.
You can't use every lame thing that you do. You can't say you feel that as an excuse every time.
You can.
I'm onto you.
Getting a bit of mileage out of that.
You've been desperate to get on green tea. You were just waiting for a perfect excuse.
I've got some nice green tea from the old Chinese supermarket.
Oh, lovely.
It's lovely, mate. Absolutely lovely. Big it up.
The real McCoy.
Yeah. I love the Asian supermarket. It's such a treat. Every time I go there, I spend too much money because I see about 12 things that I'm like, I want, and I just can't leave without them.
Amazing. Next time you go in there, do us a favour, pick me up some mirin because I don't know what it is, but I need it in one of my recipes.
Yeah. Yeah, you do need a bit of mirin.
Cheers, boss.
I'll
made
get
a
you that,
katsu
mate.
curry, but I didn't have any mirin, so it didn't quite taste right.
Didn't quite taste authentic. I'll tell you what, I will pick you up as well, mate. And what everybody should really go and do is just go and buy some MSG. It's cracking.
Yeah, it just comes in sachets.
It's unreal.
It? Yeah.
It's so good. I've got a little tin of it. I need a new tin of MSG. That's how much I bloody use it. It's so good.
Well, yeah, it's pure flavour, isn't it?
It's just pure flavour.
It's just a chemical that makes everything taste better, isn't it?
Yeah, it just got a bad rap. Like I think all the racists were like, "Oh, let's give me a headache. This food. Oh, it must be the MSG."
Any excuse, yeah.
Yeah.
Any excuse.
Yeah,
it's
not the 12 chicken balls and litre of sweet and sour sauce you've had that's give you a dicky belly the next day.
Oh no, absolutely not.
It's the sprinkling of MSG
it's not the 7,000 calories that you ate for dinner. No, it's definitely that's nothing to do with it. What I thought you were going to say, I thought you were going to do some really classy segue. We're going to be like, what I need to pick you up is a subscription to the Heavyist Podcast YouTube channel. I think you didn't do it. You actually were talking about food.
Yes, actually, we should. Yeah, we should say, everybody, if you, I mean, we haven't even really talked about riffs yet, so probably not the best time to do it. You might not be, you might not be fully invested, although you might enjoy anecdotes about going to the Chinese supermarket. So, but
I'm not sure that's exactly optimized for the algorithm.
It's not.
Anecdotes.
I can't get a nice short out of that, can I? You probably aren't subscribed if you're watching. There's a good chance you're not. And we're going to tell you about some really, really good bands. So you should subscribe. That'd be nice.
That would be
also,
really
we
cool.
have a lovely little Discord that you could come pop by. It's just the best people sharing fantastic music all day long. Sometimes I wake up at 3 a.m. and there's about 6 new records in there, and the homies are all it's global. So
it's global,
it's
international.
the heaviest collectively. There is no slumber.
Absolutely not. There's no sleep for the riff lover. We're all go all the time.
No sleep for the riffing.
Come hang out, and if you came to the channel from our last video, which seems quite a few people have done, which is very cool.
Thank you.
Maybe consider giving us a subscription. And today we were going to introduce you to some bands you haven't heard of, which is what we love to do. That's why we do these things. It's why we're here. So get involved. I'm getting straight into it, mate. We're starting with a absolute monster. The band are called Pulse. They're a 5-piece metalcore band from the Midlands in the UK, and their new album is called Body Is Reality, and it was released on the 7th of February. So first of all, shout out Mike from the Discord. Big yourself up, mate. He's the bass player of this band, and he's an absolute top bloke. It never ceases to amaze me, actually, how cool and how talented the pool of the Heavyist is. Like, I don't know if you saw the other day, I posted in the Discord about Your Spirit Dies, and the guy was like, "Oh, thanks for the shout out." I was like, "Bloody hell, I was like, what's going on?" Like, I just love it when that happens. It's so great. But like, Mike has been, he put us onto his band in the first place, and we're like, yeah, all right, cool, we'll check it out, being polite. And then it turns out his band absolutely bloody slaps. So
yes.
It's fantastic when that happens. And Pulse, we talked about their debut EP, I want to say it was a couple of years ago, Our Pulse Is Yours, and now they're out with a full-length album. And listening to it, I kind of think like they're kind of preempting what I might be preempting, is that the new Loathe album might not be as heavy as I would hope it is going to be. I have this really like niggling worry in the back of my mind that Loathe they're supposed to come out with a new album this year, and I have this horrible fear that it's not going to be very heavy. But it doesn't matter, because you've got this, and this is really going to tickle that part of people's brains that just needs big, fat, chunky riffs in that sort of style.
Yeah. Big, genty mosh.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh, yes.
The gent and the mosh come together so well on this thing. Like, I love Burial Ground as this like genty two-step, which is absolutely sick.
Yeah,
then the riff gets slower. Like, what more could you want? Like, the record sounds like $1 million as well. It sounds fantastic.
It really does, doesn't it? It sounds proper, like massive, like really
sounds
high budget. It's really, really well put together, the whole thing.
Yeah, there's like injections of some nice Thor in there, which we absolutely love. And I feel like it's just a real brilliant marriage of like Thorly stuff and mosh. And I feel like Pulse might be to Gent and Thor what like Replicant and Resin Tomb is to Dissonant Death. Like they're utilizing all those elements, but just putting them to a good ass mosh in time.
Yeah, like man. Just making it a bit more of a party.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. Absolutely.
Yeah, I understand that thought process for sure, man. Like, I just think these guys, there's this really great scene that we have in the UK for this kind of style. It's like our own. It's like working class gent, isn't it? Like, it's got that like on the street level kind of quality to it, where it's really rough and ready. They've got this like, they've got a sound and a style all of their own. Like, they've got a distinct sort of type of guitar tone. The vocalist has leveled up on this record compared to the EP, man. He's just got this extra level of anger, but he's sort of channeling it into doing some like more exciting, more distinct like style, and like really putting some extra heat in certain places. Like, it's like he's properly like taken the gloves off and now he's bare knuckle boxing. Like, it's proper angry. The record's like 25 minutes long, which is beautiful. Absolutely.
It's like perfect. 25 on the nose as well, I think, isn't it? It's like fantastic.
It's freaking spot on. It's so good. Like, I'm so down with this. Like, Grey Matter, I think, is huge. Like that,
Mate,
the amen, the use of the amen break in there, like, is so cool.
Yeah, it's like sort of like D&B balanced with like atmosphere and mosh. It's like these really awesome components that like the three of them shouldn't meet, but they do, and they absolutely get on like house on fire. And I think it's sort of down to this this real sort of commitment to this sort of like sci-fi setting that's like happening on the record. And this is like an example of like when leaning into something does really work well. And like if last week we talked about the Great American Ghost record, which sort of had these elements that it didn't necessarily lean into very well. And all they did was really sort of rob it of any depth in sort of the production and
dabbled,
and this is like this is an example of it just going absolutely super well. I love the way they handle like injecting melody on the record as well. Like the stuff is like handled in like a really mature manner that sounds natural and like, you know, really is like an addition to the record. It really like rounds it out and just it's 25 minutes as well, which is such a lean record. Like
it's just a really good, perfect, like you say, lean, fun time. Like I feel like, you know, there was a period of time when you'd sort of people would inject rave into their sounds, but that would involve buying like a cheap, crappy like synthesizer that sounded like an 8-bit Nintendo, and really it was just the same music with this horrible like cheap synth on the top of it. I feel like this is like what rave metalcore should actually be like. You can just imagine like people dancing to this band like properly, like really, like, you know, like a sort of dirty kind of 2-step like skanking type of dance that they've got going on to it, like
finger guns.
It's just got with some like the drum and bass guns. Yeah, absolutely, get it all in there, mate, properly. That's the one like that. Yeah, man. I just think it's really fun, really good time. It's really well put together. It's so technical, but it's got this kind of trick where you almost don't notice. Like I think the best technical music kind of sneaks its technicality under the radar, because if it's, otherwise it just becomes inaccessible, and everyone, you know, you only get like nerds who are like, oh yeah, this is great because they've got 25 time signatures in this chorus, whereas Pulse have like kind of taken that technicality and just turned it into 4 on the floor bangers sort of thing, and it works really, really well. I think that this record is top tier. Like it's gone into my album of the year spreadsheet under metalcore debut and UK already. Like I'm ready. I'm like, this is fucking points on the board. Early doors in the year. This is an absolutely wicked record. Yeah, man. The band are called Pulse. Record's called Body Is Reality. It's out now. Go and bloody listen to it. It's fantastic.
Hell yes.
Kind of keeping on a sort of Thorley vibe, but taking it in a very, very different direction. The next band we want to talk about, I say band, and it's not quite a band. I think it's like a one-man project. It's called Of Grace. They got a new album out. It's called Vindicta, and it was released on the 7th of February. Of Grace, also known, I believe, as Logan Thornton. Logan Thornton, I get it right. You've talked about this on the podcast before, right? So he put an EP out last year, and you brought it up, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a really cool little 3-track EP that was just gorgeous. Sounded fantastic. Sounded huge. Very melancholic, and just big sad Thor vibes, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. So when I saw that they had an album coming out, well, I didn't even actually know there was a proper album. I just saw there was a couple of singles. I should have assumed there was an EP or something, but I didn't know that we would be as blessed as to receive a proper, you know, full-length album from them. So yeah, I've just been having a fantastic time with this thing. It's really cool. Like, it's like the sort of music, sort of maybe like big massive giants have a little cry to and a bit of a dance. Like it's so sort of ingrained, like with this sort of melancholic feel. It's very slow and sad, but it's got that really warm, full, brilliant production, and it you know, there's these sort of ethereal like song vocals that come in that really like absolutely fit the sound like a glove.
Yeah, man. Like I've kind of mashed it up as it's the combination of Humanity's Last Breath and Cult of Luna. Like, is this post deathcore? Like, is that how we would classify this? Like, I was listening to it and it reminded me of like Kardashev. Like that sort of, in that sort of world. Like I seem to remember when I listened to the EP before, it was more straight up Thol with the occasional little sort of clean twinkly bit, but this is so atmospheric, and there's times when it's mixed where the atmosphere and all of the kind of additional elements and the sort of the clean like melodic guitar parts are pushed right to the front, and actually like the screaming and the big chunky riffs are kind of sit back a bit more in the mix, and it's kind of really, I've not come across anything that sounds like it before. It's such an interesting like way to approach this idea.
Yeah, like, you know, we'd love a bit of Thor. So anything that's tagged with that or that comes up and shared in the Discord, I'm usually ears on straight away, trying to get some more Thor down me bloody neck. And yeah, this is very much sort of like to death, like it's like the Death Doom version of Thor, right? It's very slow and low and sad, but with that, like creates this sort of like majestic element to it all, where it can all just sort of be a bit floatier and a bit more it's so bright as well, like, which it shouldn't be because of how sad it is. It's like it's a really cool, interesting sound. Like, yeah, the record's very sort of like singular in its approach. It's not winning an award for like the most comprehensive sprawling offer ever, but it doesn't need to. It does what it does really brilliantly, like really consistently. And it's just, yeah, if you're a fan of stuff like Humanity's Last Breath, like I think you really, really will enjoy this record.
I mean, let's get real. Like, it's a one-man project. It's the second thing that he's done in pretty much inside of a year, because I think the EP came out like in January last year, so it's been barely a year. I think, you know, he's still kind of figuring out exactly what he's doing, but he's got such a great idea, and I just think the more that he works on it, the more exciting this is going to become. And actually, like, the core premise of what he's created as a band is a really, really strong offering. And like, forget post deathcore. Now you've got me thinking maybe we should call it Doom, like DJOOM.
DJOOM.
Like, I think I just really respect like just having an idea. Like, there's not really any ideas left, is there? There's not really, no one's really doing anything where they've gone, I've got an idea. Like, everyone's just kind of going, let's sound like that bad. Like, this guy's gone, no, I've got an actual idea and I'm going to put it to music. And it works really bloody well. And I've got a lot of time for it.
There's no ideas left.
More. There are. Everyone's animal. Everyone's had all the ideas already.
Simpsons has already done everything.
Exactly. That's it. We've had no ideas. No one's got one. Just time to accept that it's all just a fucking downward spiral to oblivion. But then you come across stuff like Of Grace, and it like makes you think that maybe there is a point in going on. And I'm really down with it. And I love the fact that he sounds, when he screams, like Phil Bozeman, and yet when he sings, he sounds like a choir of angels. Like, it's really cool. I've got a lot of time for it. Yeah, man, this is a really good record.
Beautiful record.
Yeah, Vindicta by Of Grace. That one's out now. Next on our list, get your moshing pants on, people, because this one's serious. Open Kasket. They are a 5-piece death metal rock band from Little Rock, Arkansas. Their new album's called Trials of Failure, and it was released on the 7th of February through Barbaric Brutality Records. Mate, when the lovely people at Clawhammer sent us this promotional material with the words "Beatdown Death Metal," I was like, well, I've got to have a listen to this. Have you ever seen 3 more beautiful words in a row? Like, I was trying to think, like, chocolate covered money, maybe. I don't know. Like, the second I saw that as a 3-word description of what this was, I had to put it on, and I was not disappointed.
This is so good, mate. I'm absolutely loving this. This is just fantastic. We are in this golden age of death metal and hardcore bleeding into each other, and this record takes that to a degree which I'm not really sure I've come across too much. Like it's so mosh forward, it's so confrontational, and really it's so what I feel like this is, Gary, this is Pain Again by Varials with death metal draped around it.
Mate, I've written exactly the same thing in my notes.
Are you joking? Because
get out of my head, mate. Seriously.
I wanted to say this to you all week, but I was like, no, I'll save it for the podcast. That is hilarious.
That's crazy. Because
it's got that exact same brilliant confrontational energy where the sort of the drums almost lead the record, right? And there's so much space in it, and it's even his vocal attack sounds a bit like Travis. It's brilliant, and
it's got the same amount of phlegm in it, hasn't it? Yeah.
I probably say this 3 times a week to people that don't care, but I genuinely consider Pain Again by Varials one of the best records in the last 20 years, in terms of
Agreed.
heavy moshable music. I think pound for pound, I mean, I've said this a few times, and I think pound for pound is better than Laugh Tracks by Knock Loose. I would put those 2 records, I would Pain Again wins. So that's just. Yeah. I'm just trying to want to convey how much of a compliment I'm trying to play this record. That's a crazy thing to say
out loud, but I would probably agree with you. Mate, remember when I had the $1 million idea of Mosher size? We were going to take the fitness industry by storm. It was going to be bigger than Zumba and CrossFit combined.
Yeah, it's going to be like Joe Wicks.
Open Kasket would make the perfect Mosher size house band. It feels like every single moment on this album was crafted for the mosh pit. These guys are just mosh is just here always. You feel like you've burnt 1,000 calories listening to it.
2 sides of the brain, it's just one mosh brain. It's not like a left and right, it's just mosh.
They just, in their practice space, they've just got mirrors, and where you have words of affirmation, it just says mosh.
It's just a quote. It's just a quote. That's what it is.
just all of the lyrics that I will be heard just plastered on the wall.
Instead of live, laugh, loving, they're just I will be heard. Now is your time.
But every move that it makes is moves to a different type of mosh moment. It's 2-step into circle pit, into massive just let's just go nuts push pit type stuff. The way that it's built is just built by pure mosh pit lizard brain, and I love that about it. It's so much fun. It's so ridiculously ignorant. If you haven't given yourself a nosebleed by the end of the first listen of it, then you need to turn your headphones up. It's just incredible. The drums have this they have this really road worn quality to them. They sound like they're just kind of unpolished. It's a perfect mixture for what they're doing. It sounds really like DIY, and that's kind of what you want out of this type of music. It's something that I was where we're talking about this, and also something else we're talking about later. I've been thinking about what a beatdown band kind of conjures in your mind, and it does just conjure in your mind a group of people who are maybe not necessarily the most musically talented people in the world. They just want to cause a riot, and that's basically what Open Kasket are doing here. They're what's the best way to start to incite violence quickly? I know what. Loads and loads of beatdowns, and I was so keen on it, man. I think this is brilliant, and also the song name "Bruised Springsteen" is brilliant.
Bruce Springsteen is fantastic. Yeah. This is absolutely rips, mate. This is just right up there for the thing I turn on right now when I'm not quite sure what I want to listen to. And I maybe I've already had a coffee and I can't be asked to make another one. I just need an injection of pure visceral energy into my life so I can tackle the next team's call. And this is it, mate.
If you try to kick caffeine, replace it with Open Kasket.
Yeah, it's just all the best elements, death metal, deathcore, hardcore, all just coming together just to knock the fucking teeth down the back of your throat and then right out your arsehole.
You'll be shitting teeth for a week. Also, I love the like wraith on the front cover. Like, oh, that's really cool.
It's so sick.
That artwork is really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was like making the thumbnail for this episode, I just wanted to just have that. I was like, I did that first. I cut that out first, and I stuck it on, and I was like, to be honest, anything else is going to make this look less hard. Like, this is the hardest possible thing. Just a big wraith with loads of blood on a scythe.
Amazing wraith. Yeah.
And he's like, it's got a little like zombie that he's like sort of stamping out a little bit. You know, it's so hard.
It's very hard.
Fantastic.
It's
fantastic
all just as hard as it possibly can be. Yeah, the band are called Open Kasket, and that's Kasket with 2 Ks, and the record's called Trials of Failure.
Open Kasket, using K's too much is hard as well, and I have like a love of that because of my love of Mortal Kombat. Inside of Mortal Kombat, anything that starts with a C, they will just call it a K. Like if it's like the collection, they'll have that with a K. They just put K's on everything. And
Mortal Kombat was where my mind went as well, actually.
Yeah, it's great using K's for C's. I mean, using K's for C's is so much better than using like V's for like A's. It's so much harder.
Oh god, don't get Sonny started on using V's for A's. We'll be here all day. Oh man, yeah. Mate, the riffs keep coming and the riffs keep coming, dude. Guts, a 5-piece death metal band from Finland. Their new album's called Nightmare Fuel, and it was released on January the 31st through Vargheist Records. I've not come across this band before. Like, this is something that was a complete... You just sent it to me, and I was like, all right, I trust you. And then immediately I was like, this is such a bit of Sunny. Like, this is so a bit of Sunny. Like,
it's
I know
such
a lot of death metal
combo.
bands. I know a lot of death metal bands like to get stoned, but I've never heard like stoner death metal. I don't think I've never heard it done in such a way as this.
Yeah. I never heard something and it be so. It sounds so like Entombed and Caius at the same time. Like it's such a sick combo, mate. Like in a world,
isn't it? Again, it's kind of like we were saying with Of Grace. It just makes sense.
Yeah. So big up the Discord for this one. Cool. Was not wasn't on my radar until one of the homies posted it, and it is an absolute treat. Like, yeah, this is, and they're a really small band actually. Like they've got quite a small following on Instagram. To be fair, the Spotify is sitting at like 10k or 9.5k listeners a month, and I mean that is because the record's just come out, so it's maybe a bit of a month. But like in general, they seem like quite a underappreciated band right now. And I think they're doing something that's really, really interesting in a space that, as much as we love it, it is quite hard for bands to like sort of stick their neck out and sort of really stand out. And I think that's, the best bands have a bit of a, not a gimmick, but an angle that really sets them apart.
USP.
Like, a USP, you think of your Frozen Souls, like things like that just sort of make it stick in your mind. Yes, it's brilliant, like old school death metal at its core, but this has such a stoner forward way of riffing that is just amazing. It's absolutely amazing. It's not something you hear very often. Like, it's awesome as hell.
You get your Black Sabbath riffs without having to pay $3,000 a ticket or whatever it was, right? Yeah. It's just, you're right. It's this sort of perfect kind of Caius High on Fire type like style of riffing, but also combined with like earlier Undeath kind of sounding like brutal death metal. Like the vocalist his voice is so brutal. Like he's using his entire esophagus to get that sound out of his voice, right? Honestly, I swear every time he must go to the microphone, he must puke up, scream up his lunch. Like it's absolutely savage. Like it's kind of a bit more. Imagine if like you dipped Spirit World in a swamp or something. Like it's got a bit of that about it. Or maybe it's almost got a bit of like Maylene. Sometimes even the riffs sound a bit like Rage Against the Machine, don't they? There's that kind of like that, like do like the sort of the semitone gaps that they do. It's got that kind of like it's like the real Black Sabbath-y style of riff writing, but then combined with this guttural vocal and this really nice like death metal sheen over everything. Like, it's such a interesting style that I've never come across before, and it's got such a motor to it. Like, I reckon it's really good running music. Not that I would ever consider going running, because that's just mad. But I reckon it's got like, I know that there's a subgroup, Heavyist subgroup on Strava, where they do, they're called the Chafeist. And honestly, boys, you need to get this into your playlists, because I reckon this will make you get some like personal best running records out there, because it's just got that kind of constant motoring engine to it that it just drives along, and it works fantastically. Like, I think this is really, really interesting, dude. Like, I'm glad you sent this to me. Because I don't know, I don't know, maybe I've run out of capacity for death metal at this point. Like, I've listened to a lot of death metal. Maybe I was like, maybe I need like a bit of a mental break from new death metal bands. And then I was like, no, go on. He sent it to me. Let's check it out. And I was like, bloody hell, this is well good.
Yeah. Something, a lot of what we listen to has a lot of similarities, and you just need that tiny little inflection of personality in a record that makes it really memorable, makes it stick out. And they've got it, mate. And they're like, I definitely hadn't heard of them before. I think a lot of people in the Discord hadn't heard them before I think it was maybe Electric Seal, big up yourself, that shared it first. This absolutely rips. Like, it would be a disservice to the homies if we weren't shouting about this record, just to get more people to get ears on it. Because fantastic record.
Hell yeah. So the record's called Nightmare Fuel, and it's by the band Guts.
Oh, I wanted to say one thing about it.
Go on.
I don't know why, but having the title track as the last track is hard. It's incredibly hard. I don't know why it's hard. I think it might be harder than having it as the title track, as the opening track.
As the opener.
I think having the title track on the record on the end is hard. I can't explain why.
It's the move these
If anyone
days.
can explain
more
why,
people doing it. Yeah, I don't really understand it, but I agree with you. It's almost like the proper like full stop, isn't it? Like, this is what it was all about, and it's like it kind of sums it all up at the end. Like, it's a really cool move, and I respect you. I've seen a lot of people doing it these days, and I really like it.
Yeah, and it's on another record that we're going to talk about.
Yeah. Hell yeah. So yeah, next on the agenda of the Riff Roundup is Barshashketh. I knew I wasn't going to be able to pronounce that.
You did
Barshashketh.
it, mate.
They're a 4-piece black metal band originally from New Zealand, but now residing in Edinburgh. This is their 5th studio album. It's called Antinomian. Oh, bloody hell.
Go on.
Antinomian. Asceticism, and it came out on January the 9th. I'm not a big black metal guy. I usually like my black metal to have a bit of an extra flavour, but the extra flavour of this is Satan, isn't it? Bloody hell! This is about as true cult as I think I've ever come across in the times that we've been doing this podcast, and I think this is wicked. This is well good.
This is out in January, and this is points on the board for my favourite black metal record this year by a mile. I've listened to it loads. It's been a real cool little place to escape to. Like, you ever have a hard day and you just like need to be dragged by some demons through the void. Like, no,
never, mate. I'm an absolute ray of sunshine, me.
It's just fantastic. It's got this chaotic element. It's got these really sort of caustic, brilliant textures. It's sort of thick and nightmarish, and just a real sort of just dog pile of like suffering demons. It's fantastic. The chaos just feels like sort of ancient magic erupting from some sort of tablet. It's great. It's absolutely great.
I think bands that are this kind of like traditional, is that is that a good way of describing it? In the black metal world, for me, usually just bore the pants off me. But this is so exciting, like it's so dramatic, and there's loads of really great riffs. And like you're saying, there's that extra element that they keep throwing in of these little like dissonant ideas, or these like, just interesting moves. And like, I can't stand and watch another black metal band perform live stationary on the spot with hoods over their heads, but this really doesn't give me that kind of vibe. I reckon these guys would be really exciting to watch live because the music's so visceral and like lively and like at it.
And there's like, there's the injection of these sort of like almost like druidic vocals that come in, sort of like your batushkas are like coming in.
I'd allow the hoods for that bit. That'd be fine. That'd be
just be able to put that on.
Oh yeah, you can pop it up for that bit. Yeah. But they don't just stop and do it. Like they do that kind of stuff, but like within like the exciting riffy black metal that they're playing. Like it's not like, oh, now we're going to stop and we're going to have we're going to have the summer solstice or whatever. Like they actually they add it as an element to what's going on, and it's exciting.
Yeah, it really is like a frenzy. It's very shares a bit of DNA with like that Vindicta record that we really liked.
Yeah, sure.
I think that. I think a lot of people that weren't necessarily too immersed in black metal in general could really get on with this, because it's just such a like fantastic like immersive darkness. It's like just like listening to a horror movie, and it's I don't know why I wrote this in my notes, but do you know how like nobody really knows what was happening in that David Ayer Suicide Squad movie? Like whatever she was supposed to be conjuring in the air, like it wasn't really explained, was it? It was a horrendous movie, but whatever she was doing up there definitely sounds like this record. I think that's
a pull. Fair play.
that horrendous, like they just had that really weird sort of vortex in the sky for no reason that she was up to.
Yeah.
This was in there. I think that's what was in there.
This is what came out of it. In the director's cut, you'd see it dropping out of the sky. But we won't ever see the director's cut.
Yeah.
No, like honestly, I think you can listen to this record at the end of it, look at yourself in the mirror, and you might just have all black eyes. You know what I mean? Like it might possess you. It's got that sort of like mysticism. But then, obviously, black metal first came around as a kind of antithesis to thrash and death and sensibilities. In terms of what people like riff-wise, has kind of changed. People like things that are a bit more exciting, and I like that they've managed to sort of respect the original guard, but also make something that sounds modern and exciting. Like it's a really, really strong record. And as a guy who's not really big into black metal, I usually like to have my black metal to have something in front of it, like post black metal, or just something that kind of just distinguishes it a little bit. And this is just pure black metal. This is
occult
really sick
as hell.
This is very, very occult, very evil, and absolutely wicked.
It's 43 minutes of glorious, nightmarish decadence, and sure. I think you'll love it.
For sure. You should go and check it out. Now I've got to say it again. Barshashketh, Antinomian Asceticism. That's how I'm going to say it. Whether that's right or not, I'm going with that. That's how I'm saying it, and I've said it. Yeah, that's a really, really cool record, dude. And it's one that I would never have listened to unless you told me to. And I'm glad that you did.
Hell yeah, brother.
One last record before we get out of your ears and go and you can carry on with your lives. This one was a last minute addition because it came out today as we record. The band are called Volatile Ways. They're a 4-piece beatdown hardcore band from Newcastle, which is in New South Wales in Australia. The album is called Perfect Dark. It's their debut album, unless you include Compendium, which I think was actually like a collection of singles and bits and bobs. It came out today as we record the 12th of February through the Bereaved in God Records. So we've been digging on this band for quite a while now, haven't we, son? Like Volatile Ways, anytime they drop a new single, we're there. Like I think we must have come across them when we were in our like obsessive Australian metal scene period, which, to be honest, hasn't ever really ended.
just as the damn coming back, brother. Ain't going nowhere. Ain't going nowhere.
Baby. Oh, mate, that was the best news ever.
Yeah.
But this band, they were so like ignorant and savage. It was just really intoxicating. And we do love a good midweek album drop. It doesn't happen anywhere near often enough. We don't need to drop albums just on Fridays anymore, guys. Like, do something different.
Yeah. There's so many other days, and everyone's busy listening to new records on Friday. Bang it out on a Wednesday. Yeah, go for it. It's a great idea. It's a great idea.
Mate, this is proper art. So good. Anybody out there who might be a fan of the Acacia strain, and that better be all of you.
That better be all of you. There's no way you're not going to be down with what's going on this album. There's no way. It's impossible. It would be absolutely impossible. It'd be ridiculous. It'd be absolutely ridiculous. It'd be as ridiculous as that man that I had an argument with when we were drunk at Damnation, who was wearing a Chimera shirt, but also moaning about Chimera. That's how ridiculous
it would be if you liked the Acacia strain and you didn't like Volatile Ways. It's this kind of... It's deathcore played by hardcore kids with a hardcore mentality, and the result gives you like something that's absolutely brilliant, unbelievably bouncy and groovy, with a really decent layer of evil and a vocalist with a distinct hatred for mankind, who's managing to have fun with it. That's kind of what you get, isn't it? Like, it's kind of no frills, but it's delivered so sincerely that you can't help but take notice of it.
Yeah, it's just top tier beatdown forward mosh fucking brilliance. It's really, really dark. Like, there is a really brilliant layer of darkness across the whole thing. I really, really like the track Motherless, which kind of has a bit of a different vibe. Like, it's sort of, and that's what I was saying, like, sort of about Guts, where, like, you know, Volatile Ways could easily be like piled into that like death metal hardcore fusion that's coming out. Like, there's loads of brilliant bands in it, but like, yeah, I think just having this extra little thing that you put on your record that makes it yours, can really sort of do a lot of favors for you. And like that track Motherless is really cool. It has almost sort of like a more doomy vibe. And it just, adding that extra little flavor onto the track is fantastic.
Yeah, man. Like, I thought, like, what you're kind of picking up as doomy, definitely, like, it's got a bit more of a melancholy to it, and as a result you're kind of drawn into it a bit more, and it kind of feels a bit more personal, which is crazy to talk about when you're talking about a beatdown band. It's like getting drawn in by like the personal stories and kind of feeling the vulnerability and the emotion out of beatdown music, but they're doing it, they're pulling it off. Like, Emily, the vocalist of this band, she's absolutely sick. Like, I love her. Like, what I was saying earlier with Open Kasket about like beatdown bands just being kind of just guys just trying to come together to create carnage, and like, you know, maybe they might go and buy their instruments from Poundland. What's it called there? What's the place where you go and like sell your stuff to try and get a bit of extra money for drugs? What's that place called?
The pawn
Cash
shop?
Converters.
Cash converters.
Yeah. Well, in America they call it a pawn shop. In the UK we call it cash converters. But they go and buy their guitars from cash converters, and they just get together and just make something really aggro. But I don't know. I feel like Volatile Ways is like 12 levels above that. Like, it's so much more polished and like dynamic and kind of thought out, but it's still got that working class, like dirty, like basement venue kind of vibe to it, and I think that's really important. Like, it's like the most high fidelity basement venue band you'll ever hear, you know what I mean?
yeah, it's absolutely sick. What I really like as well is the last two tracks, Motherless and then Perfect Dark, title track, end of the album. Hard as hell, already covered that. They go into each other incredibly seamlessly. Like, it almost starts on the beginning of the track, almost starts, which kind of, like, realistically, that could have been one track. Like, and it would have been such a sick move for a beatdown band to put a 9-minute track to finish with a 9-minute track that was like a self-titled 9-minute track. Mate, that would have just been such a hard move, dude.
Yeah, dude. I love the track. I don't know that you're allowed to say the word on YouTube, otherwise you'll get in trouble. Let's say televised unaliving yourself. That song is so badass. Like the bit where it breaks down is like, I want to broadcast my death to thousands. You will all watch me die. That bit's so hard. And then Beck from Terminal Sleep comes in and does that kind of chorus. It's really
Mate.
it's so hard. Just that whole.
Yeah.
I think it's like a damning indictment of reality TV. I think that's essentially what the message of the song is, but turning that into like a kind of hypothetical about killing yourself live on television is absolutely wicked. Like it's just so grisly, and I love it. It's so like it's just sort of turning a mirror to society in the most gruesome way ever. Like I love that. I think. Yeah, I think this is absolutely brilliant, this EP or this album. I keep calling it EP because it's like 24 minutes long.
It's 24 minutes long.
It is an album, isn't it? It's like as much as how Pulse is an album because it's 1 minute longer than Volatile Ways. I don't know.
I was thinking about when I was thinking about it having a long track. I was like, well, really, because there's like a 1 minute like interlude track. So really, it's like 6 tracks, and then like if they did the double track, it would be 5 tracks, and that would. I don't know why. Just make it even harder. No, it could still be an album.
A 5-track album of Beatdown music.
It's amazing.
I'd love it. Someone just looking at the track list and assuming they were like post rock, and then putting it on.
yeah. This is great. It's incredibly dark. It is superb, brilliant. Just, looking at if you like moshed along to Open Kasket and then Volatile Ways, I think you probably look like Henry Cavill by the end of it.
That's it.
You just maybe do it twice.
Sign up to Mosher size, and that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to look like Henry Cavill's better looking older brother by the end of it. Applications, I'll put them in the link below.
You could do it on. You could do start a stream up, Gary. That'll be it.
It's going down, man. It's got
get the green screen going.
That's such a great. This is money, man. This is money. We should stop telling everyone this idea live on the internet. It's stupid of us. We should keep it ourselves. We need to retain representation, mate. We need to lie up because people are going to try and steal this from us. Now, this is a contract. This video right now is a live. This contract.
Is a binding contract.
This is binding. This is legally binding. I reckon, dude. Riff Roundup and a half, man. Some absolutely brilliant records this month. Like it's bloody second week of February, and the quality and the caliber of music that we've already been talking about so far this year is outrageous, and it's only going to continue to get better as the year goes on.
Yeah, the riff enjoyers are just the riff enjoyers are eating so well right now.
We are so spoiled. It's ridiculous. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Maybe subscribe, maybe leave us a like, drop a little comment in the box letting us know what one of the records was your favourite, or if there's anything else that you reckon we should have talked about that's come out in the last month or so. I mean, we know we had to whittle this list down from about 30 records, but if there's anything out there that you reckon we should be checking out, let us know. We'll see you next week. Well, we're going to probably be talking about Killswitch Engage's new album, right, son?
Yes, mate.
Hell yeah.
I can't bloody wait.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.